Who are you?
I'm Doyle. That's the reason I think it'd be hard to track me, because I don't know myself what I can do. I think the old way is definitely going away. One for the good guys. Yeah. Let's keep that one. See how smart I am? You can't handle the truth.
You got Doyle smiling. He's stuck 100,000. That's hard to do.
Wow. Fire up the TiVo. It's the Doyle Show.
Doyle Brunson poker, baby.
Doyle finally has a hand to chew on. Pocket tens are raised to 1,900. Lock folds.
Got the double. How much is that?
19.
Okay. Just because it's Doyle, I want to play with it.
Expect to see a lot of that here in the big game. There's ego as well as cash at stake here, and these guys love to mix it up with each other.
Okay, I raised 10,000 more.
Wow, that's a first.
All right,
Yeah, that is a first.
Can he raise 10?
Total bet 84? It'll be 84 total.
Remember, it is pot limit pre-flop.
Now, even though Phil is 3-bet here, everyone is so deep stacked that even if Phil's got aces or kings, Doyle is actually getting the right odds to try to hit his 10, and he makes the call.
As a poker spectator, I'd like to say I like the way this hand is
This is going to be a fun hand. We got a fun hand going on here. A lot of crazy talk.
Decision time for Tony G.
I just want to be in a pot. I can't say no to this pot.
Remember everything I just said about Doyle having the right odds to call? Well, same thing for Tony G, except the exact opposite. This man clearly hates money.
No, he doesn't. How about trip jacks for Tony G?
Apparently he's clairvoyant.
I check.
A check by Tony. Phil checks.
You hit it that good?
Very sneaky, Tony. I'm sure Doyle thinks he's best here. The odds of flopping trips are less than 2%.
He bets 18,000.
Bet is 18,000.
Bet 18.
Tony G makes the smooth call.
Now you can move in. Be the hero.
More trickery from Tony G.
Actually, Phil moves out.
Heads up.
As you can see, Doyle is drawing dead.
I'm all in, whatever comes.
You're all in now?
Yeah, I'm all in.
He's all in the dark.
All in the dark.
Tony G all in the dark.
Tony G has just bet a brand new Jaguar without even seeing the next card. This has got to arouse some suspicion in Doyle, possibly confuse him even.
A king on the turn.
Come what may. That's commitment to the game.
Tony's played this hand so straightforwardly, it's befuddled Doyle. I have 3 jacks, I'm all in. It's like a double reverse bluff.
I love the game so much. Absolutely love it.
I guess you got me covered, huh?
Probably not.
So you just came in and hit a jack, right? Instead of the 2-8 you got.
Doyle trying to convince himself he's got Tony beat.
What do you got, Doyle? 2 10s?
You got it.
You got 2 10s?
Yeah.
Just because Tony's right doesn't mean you are, Doyle.
I just don't believe you got it, buddy.
There he goes.
2 10s is very
All in
bad.
and the close.
Bad.
You're drawing dead to 2 10s.
Oh, what a disgusting feeling.
And you
Reload. Yeah.
Doyle goes back to the Brunson bank to reload.
You put 10,000 in there with the jack 10, you need to be paid off.
Doyle, ace-7 suited, gets a free look at the flop.
You did the right thing. You won the pot too.
For once.
You avoided any bad cards.
Trey 9-9, 2 hearts on the flop.
Huge flop for Helmuth, 3 9s. Doyle Brunson has, however, flopped the nut flush draw.
Negreanu checks, Brunson checks, Helmuth checks,
Setting a trap.
Check.
and the loose cannon checks. 7 of spades on the turn.
Doyle's now got a pair of 7s to go along with his flush draw.
Negreanu leads out 1,500 with a gut shot straight draw. Doyle calls.
7,000.
A raise to 7,000 by Phil Helmuth.
No more slow playing for Phil in this hand.
Ernest folds.
1 down.
Daniel
2 down.
folds.
Take
And so
it,
does
Phil.
Doyle.
With a paired board, a flush draw is potentially drawing dead. Doyle lets it go.
Phil Hummer, taking the money.
You have like ace-7 or something?
That's what I had
You had ace-7?
with hearts.
Wow.
And Phil rakes in a decent pot.
With hearts? You got ace-7 of hearts right there?
Yeah, I don't like drawing the flushes with pairs on the board.
I know, I hate that when you get there and it's like you were never had a shot.
Tough night so far for Doyle, who's stuck over 100 grand.
You had the ace-7 of hearts, Dolly?
I had ace-7 of hearts, Phil. Why would I lie after I threw my hand away?
That's my department, you know?
It was very, very good laydown, sir.
Once again, Daniel trying to isolate the loose cannon.
Can't do it, as Doyle calls. Lock folds, Tony G folds.
Well, there's a lot of money out there, baby. A lot of money out there.
Go and get you some.
E-Dub makes the call. 3 players off to the flop.
I had no heart, no nothing.
10 Jack Trey.
Both Doyle and Daniel have flopped top pair, but it is a draw-heavy board. Both seem content to see another card.
In fact, all 3 will. And 3's the magic number on the turn.
The way the action's gone so far, Doyle's got to think his jack's good. He's going to bet, try to get some value out of top pair.
Bets 8,000.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Let me see what Daniel would do.
E-Dub folds. And let's see what Daniel does.
Daniel also probably thinks he has the best hand.
So he makes the call. The river card, a 9 of diamonds. Daniel pairs his kicker.
Now Daniel does have the best hand. Good spot for a value bet.
Doyle is checked on over to Daniel. How's a value bet of 12,000?
This is the biggest hand I've had.
Quick call.
Got Jack 9.
Tough river card for the legend. Doyle Brunson running very salty tonight.
I don't think I got anything else, do I? No.
You get 13 back, right?
Just can't seem to catch a break.
One there.
And Daniel Negreanu rakes in a pot of nearly $51,000.
Nice little game y'all got here.
Stay tuned, folks, while we conjure up our sarcasm statistic. Forget the loose cannon. Daniel's now trying to isolate Phil Hellmuth.
Doyle pocket jacks.
Don't think he was counting on Doyle waking up with such a big hand.
Who lost the last pot?
Now, Doyle would typically be the one to 3-bet in this spot with 2 jacks, but since Daniel did it for him, he just calls.
That gets Phil Lock and Tony G out of the hand, and now action back on Hellmuth. Makes the call.
Daniel's repping a big hand before the flop. Let's see if Doyle coming along for the ride causes him to change his game plan at all.
So 3 players to the flop. 5-7 queen, it misses everyone. Hellmuth checks.
That's right, so that means Doyle's still in the lead with 2 jacks.
Negreanu checks.
Now, you expect Daniel to try to continue his pre-flop ruse, but I think Doyle's presence in the hand has thrown him off a bit.
It checked around, a 4 of spades on the turn. No help to anyone.
Daniel has picked up a draw now. He has an up and down straight draw.
Phil Hellmuth chips in hand.
Finally feels like it's safe to maybe take a stab here.
Bet 7,000.
Well, Phil doesn't have anything. He's now leading out into a guy who 3-bet and another guy who called a 3-bet. So this bluff from Hellmuth actually carries a lot of weight. It's not just a snap call for Daniel with an open-ended straight draw.
Daniel does make the call.
Now, with Daniel and Phil raising and re-raising and betting into each other, it's going to be very tough for Doyle to know he has the best hand.
Gets rid of the best hand. So it's Daniel and Hellmuth off to the river, which is a deuce of spades. Daniel hits bottom pair.
Not only bottom pair for the board, bottom pair for the entire deck. Hellmuth has nothing, but he can still maybe win this pot with the right size bet.
Didn't Daniel say bluffs are good for the game a little earlier?
Only if you show him.
6,000.
Bet of 6,000 by Phil Hellmuth.
This is a very small bet compared to the size of the rest of the pot. It's also smaller than the bet he just made on the turn. Let's see if Daniel can figure it out.
Just don't reach for a bunch of those great chips.
Why? You might just shove it on me?
Phil insinuating he'll make a snap call. That orange chip is 25K. A lot of power in that little stack.
Negreanu makes it 46,000.
Daniels correctly read Phil is weak and stuck in a huge bet with only a pair of deuces.
Speech time. It's gotta come.
He might have like 6-9 offsuit. It's Daniel. Good bet.
And Phil lays it down.
Finally got there. It took a while, but I had you.
He nailed it. Look at that. That's sick. That's not gonna look good on TV.
Yeah, whatever that is, it's not gonna look good.
That's gonna be bad for a profile, unfortunately.
Little do they know, Daniel did have the best hand.
I play so bad. I know Daniel's playing the rush and he's going to re-raise.
Yes, that was what I was
I
doing.
knew
The analysis post-flop.
Doyle makes the call, as does Phil Lock.
Ernest has got to start playing more aggressively if he hopes to cross that $100,000 mark.
10-deuce-8 on the flop. Doyle checks
Somehow none of these four players have caught a piece of this flop.
and checks all the way around.
Ernest checks the best hand again.
3 on the turn. Tony G gets a piece of it. Doyle checks. Phil Lock leads out to 2,200.
Feels this is a pretty safe board.
Tony G calls.
Tony now with the best hand.
Ernest folds.
Misses opportunity with another big ace. Doyle reaching for chips. Only a 9 high. He might be trying to take this pot away right here.
What is it?
A raise to 10,200 by the Hall of Famer.
Doyle's hoping his image will be enough to take this one down.
Dr. Brunson and Dr. G in a hand with little old me.
I don't know what Phil Lock is thinking about. His nothing's even worse than Doyle's. Gets out of the way.
Now Tony G acting with third pair.
Tony G loves to play. He hates to fold, although he cannot completely ignore the fact that Doyle has raised in very few pots.
Is there a shot clock? Ah, the fold.
Put my reputation finally on one for me at least.
You thieved that?
10 deuce was out there.
I know. I thought about that.
Doyle finally gets off the schneid.
That's the biggest pot I won, by the way.
Yay!
The only pot I won.
Yay?
Yeah.
She just said yay.
President of Doyle's fan club, Amanda Leatherman.
Won 2 annies besides that.
I don't think Doyle's won anything since the $500 side bet from the first episode.
But that was an easy hand to play there.
Well, there's still 90 more hands for Doyle Brunson to turn things around. Daniel folds.
Small raise from Tony. Doyle's going to defend out of the big blind.
That would have been good if you called. If you raised 30 and you
4
called.
queen 5, pair of clubs on the board.
Check it.
Okay.
Check by Brunson and a check by Tony G.
Doyle's paired as 5.
Deuce of diamonds on the turn.
Yeah, 3,000.
Bet of 3,000 by Doyle.
Doyle's also got a gut shot.
And Tony G lays it down.
Yeah, hallelujah.
He's on a heater.
You've done it. Hallelujah, he said.
Doyle's going to get it in soon. I can feel it.
That's my third.
You're getting it in within the next 2 rounds.
I think you're right.
You're going to race something.
It's hard to race when you pot limit for the flop.
Doyle is raised to 3,000. Phil Lock on the button. 6-4 suited. Makes the call. Tony G folds. Steaming. Phil folds. Suited connectors for Ernest Wiggins, the straddler.
Looks like Ernest is actually calculating the size of the pot. Maybe his girlfriend slash poker coach Rabbit gave him a lesson in pot odds during halftime.
It'll be 3 players on the flop. Comes out King 9-10.
Doyle's flop best with a pair of 9s.
Check.
Ernest checks. Doyle checks.
Phil looking to take a stab here in position.
Phil bets 6,200.
I'm out of there. Nah, you got it, man. Go ahead. You got it by me.
Ernest folds.
Rated.
What's poker?
A check raise by Doyle Brunson.
There's only one move he's really got here.
Bet it all.
Raise your pot committed, huh?
He goes all in.
Whether Doyle's frustrated or just senses weakness, he's looking to double up.
You probably got me beat. 10, 20, 5.
Be tough to not have you beat, Phil. You have 6 high.
Wish I had a draw. I would call.
I knew you had 2 little cards.
2 little cards?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too good.
King of spades.
Doyle showed an 8.
No, there wasn't no kings in my pan.
The Jack 8 makes sense.
Wasn't no jacks.
I was owned.
The 7-8 makes sense.
I knew you didn't come in there with no 2 big cards on top of that. See how smart I am?
I was owned.
Internet players would have said, based on your range, on the calculations I've made of your PFR, there's clearly no way you had 2 pictures, right? That's what Doyle, but Doyle just said, I knew you never did have no big cards.
Daniel raises to 3,200, and there's a nicer pocket pair.
Was not expecting Doyle to wake up with this big a hand.
Right.
Doyle's got a good read on this situation. He knows Phil's likely to raise with nonsense. Daniel's likely to re-raise Phil with other nonsense. Don't mess with Texas.
Raises to almost 12,000. Phil Lock folds. Tony G, Queen 9 off suit.
Decides not to jump out the window.
And Phil Hellmuth folds as well.
Good chance you'll get it all, buddy.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. I'm just counting it up here. You got 80. It's 85 more.
85 on top.
Daniel doesn't know what rough shape he's in. He's probably putting Doyle on 2 overcards.
Okay, I'll raise it.
Daniel re-raises. There goes Doyle. He's all in.
Once or twice, Doyle.
Daniel calls.
It's up to you.
I'll do twice.
What is 37-2?
37-2 each. Is that what you got? 37-2.
Are you paired?
That would've
Yeah,
been
I'm paired. You're not paired?
right?
Yeah, I am.
Uh-oh,
37-2.
that's bad for me. Okay,
thought,
I was hoping you had ace king.
All right, guys.
All right, put a 7 out there and then a straight.
They've agreed to run it twice. The winner of each run will take down half the pot.
And let's remember, Doyle's already gone broke once. The flop, 4 queen deuce.
It's a good flop for Doyle.
Daniel's a 4-1 dog going into this. Doyle's jack still good for the moment.
Ace on the turn.
I just like to double Doyle up. That's what I do. Gets short, I feel bad.
Daniel needs a 7 on the river. Instead, it's a 9.
1 for the good guys.
Hey, Doyle, what you always say is always feel good to what?
To win the first one.
Oh, man.
Like that?
So Doyle's won half the pot. They'll run it a second time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool.
Daniel's looking for a hatchet.
How about a 7?
That's the one.
There it is in the door. You got a diamond draw. It's always exciting. I knew I was going to hit at least 1 7.
No diamonds here.
No diamonds? There's like no way.
No, there's no
doesn't
diamonds
count.
here, I'm saying.
I'm just saying. It's got to be a diamond for sure. Diamond.
It's not a diamond. It's a 5 of spades.
5 of diamonds.
I took one of them away.
More than 22% because there's 5 dead cards right here.
Thanks, Phil.
Doyle looking for a jack or any diamond but the 5.
There you go.
There it
Boom,
is.
boom. Nice hand.
Doyle doubles through Daniel. 2 jacks in the hole are good.
I feel like I jinxed it. Sorry there.
I knew a diamond was coming, huh? That time, there's like no
Maybe I jinxed
diamonds
it.
anywhere.
So Doyle survives the all-in to double up. Although he's really been struggling at this table, he is still the godfather of poker. Doyle
I
calls.
forgot what the 4th M is on his PMM thing. I forgot my own statement. It's so bad.
Positive exercise. Meditation.
Lock checks.
Yeah.
What is it?
No, I called it.
I forgot to.
You don't know the 4th thing in your M?
Hope the last M doesn't stand for memory.
How do you forget your mantra for life? What it means? He's got a life mantra and he forgot what it means.
The flop, 5 deuce queen, 2 spades.
Locke and Doyle have both flopped top pair. Doyle's got what we like to call kicker problems.
Doyle bets 1,500. Phil Lock calls.
Oh my God.
E-dub folds.
Meditation.
4 of hearts on the turn.
Doyle's now made 2 pair. Locke's in big trouble.
Isn't it awful? Motivation? No, that's no, that's not it.
Doyle Brunson bets more with an M, 4,500.
Doyle hasn't let out at many pots, and look at that. Phil Locke folds. Great read.
Doyle calls. Phil Lock on the button. Folds. Queen 3 for Tony. Raises to 1,500.
Bound to hit with it this time.
Phil Hellmuth, good hand with pocket tens.
Decent sized pair for Phil Hellmuth. He didn't re-raise last hand with ace king. Let's see if he changes things up now.
Just calls.
Calling's going to let a lot of these other hands in the door.
Like Ernest Wiggins and Doyle Brunson. So 4 players to the flop. 6-5 jack, 2 diamonds. Tony G with a flush draw. That's 5,000. Hellmuth's along for the ride.
Jack. Jack of diamonds. Not quite the card I needed.
E-dub's out.
Doyle's out flop. Phil's tens with top pair of jacks.
Doyle raises to 25,000.
Doyle's made a good read. He thinks he has the best hand. This is a value raise.
Tony G makes the call.
Phil looking to the cameras for answers.
Is this for real? Are they recording this? I mean,
Are you recording this?
is this for real? I mean,
No, Phil, you're not being punked.
yeah, it's for real.
He does fold.
Nice, nice, nice. It's just so much fun here. I mean,
Down to Doyle and Tony on the turn. 9 of spades.
All in.
All in for Tony G.
Tilted Tony using pure aggression here.
Seen that show before.
And it works. Quick fold from Doyle.
And Tony rakes in a nice-sized pot.
Should have checked it.
Tony steam bet blows Doyle off the best hand.
maybe this time I win the pot.
So you re-raise now. You have me crunched. You have me under pressure.
Phil seems to have caught on that no one's believing his re-raises.
5 queen 5 on the flop.
Check to y'all.
Doyle checks top pair.
There you go.
Tony G bets 2K.
Trying to see if a continuation bet with ace high will take this down.
Gets Phil out of the way. Doyle calls.
Next one will be 4.
The next one, queen of diamonds. Full house for Doyle.
Doyle's got a full house. He's going to try to let Tony walk in the front door, and he does.
Bets 4,000.
Doyle trying to decide how big of a raise he wants to make here.
How's a raise to 29,000 sound?
That's nice.
It's a very big raise, more than the size of the pot.
That is very nice.
It may look to Tony like Doyle's trying to buy it. Queens and fives with an ace will be good sometimes, and a lot of the time it's chopping.
I respect it. I think I've got the best hand. Take it. I think I've got the best hand.
No, you don't.
Not this time around.
I feel like Doyle had 4 5s there for some reason.
And good to see a little bit of a smile back on the face of the Hall of Famer. Daniel straddles, so Doyle first to act with ace-king suited.
I feel so happy for losing.
Raised to 2,200.
If Tony or Phil go bust, they'll be replaced by Screech or Preppy.
Look, I was going to get on my knees and do this chair thing too, but I realized this is your moment. I'm staying out of it. You know, it's too good. You guys have your own bubble.
Yeah, you
It's
shouldn't.
beautiful. Oh,
We're the big losers. We're
know
the huge super losers here.
Yeah, I know.
Super donks.
Action folds on over to Daniel, who calls.
I really do.
The super.
Do they have records? I want to know. Ask the EP if they have records of like who's won all the hands, because I don't know, but it's possible I didn't win 60 hands now in a row.
Helmut's going to take a trip backstage while we see a flop.
8 ace 7, pair of clubs.
Doyle's flop top pair. Phil Hellmuth has found the craft service table.
Daniel checks. Doyle bets 3,500 and takes it down.
Had one for sure.
During the break, our stats guys were crunching numbers, and we have an answer for Phil.
I want to know the truth.
Bring him the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
That's the only problem.
Action folds around to Doyle. Raises to 3,000 with 7 high. Ooh, a pair of ladies for the Unabomber.
Phil Locke still getting hit with the deck. Looks like he's not going to slow play it this time.
Raises to 7,200. 10-5 suited for Tony G, who folds. Phil Hellmuth gets rid of his cards as well.
I must be showing you my hand. I haven't come in a pot that you hadn't had a pair.
I don't know what to do when they.
That's it, flop.
I lived with queens in a different show and I got abused for like 2 months.
One more.
Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Oh, go ahead. For me, it's enough.
Everybody's rabbit hunting. And
You know how many big pairs you've had on me?
About 14, I think.
Every time I've come to pot, he's raised me.
But I show every time because
I
I
know.
love you and I don't know what to do. I don't want you to think I'm abusing you.
Well, I don't care. I mean, abuse is part of it.
I know, but it's like, it's a home game. If it was more cutthroat, I wouldn't show. I'd just torch you, but I can't torch you.
You're supposed to beat the man on your right in a poker game.
Locke's actually been ambidextrous today when it comes to that.
It's a lot easier when you get kings a couple times.
That helps. What's your name?
I'm Will.
Will, yeah.
Who are you?
I'm Doyle.
He's Will Davis. I'm David Williams. It's like our names are backwards.
Good luck to everybody.
Good luck.
I mean, bad luck, actually, I mean.
Well, at least he's honest about it.
Ooh, pocket kings for poker royalty.
Another good starting hand.
Raised to 1,200. David Williams, king 9 suited. Makes the call. Ace 8 for the loose cannon, Will Davis. He folds.
he wanted to so bad that time.
I wanted to. Doyle's a scary guy over there.
He ain't that scary, believe me.
Action folds around to Jason Calacanis. Calls.
Calls with a weak ace out of position.
So 3 players to the flop. Deuce, deuce, 6. Calacanis checks.
Safe flop for Doyle. Going to try to get some value.
Bets 3,300. Williams folds. So does Calacanis.
My favorite hand.
The 10 deuce.
2 aces.
Pair of ladies for Doyle Brunson.
Pocket queen's definitely a re-raising hand. See if Doyle goes for it.
Raise the pot.
He does to 4,800. And he gets an evil stare from Calacanis. Williams folds. Pocket jacks for the loose cannon.
2 very big hands here. Could see a lot of money going to the pot.
A tough spot for our loose cannon. Let's see how he plays it.
How much to call?
4,800, so 4,400 more.
The first big decision for Will Davis. Getting the stare down from Doyle. Re-raise to 14,800.
Well, looks like a raise.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Calacanis folds.
10,000 more.
Those are the 2 guys I would not want to get into it with.
Will's supposed to be the amateur. He's certainly not playing scared. Might be his undoing. Decides he wants to go toe-to-toe with Doyle Brunson. Re-raising with jacks, not always recommended. When you get action, usually you're racing at best.
I'm all in.
Here's re-raising pot.
Once again, it is pot limit pre-flop.
Close enough anyway.
So Doyle can only raise to 46,400.
Will's looking a little sick right now.
Can he get away from this?
I have no idea what's going on here.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, for real.
This would be a devastating pot for the table to lose to you, by the way.
Now, Doyle wasn't able to move all in the way he wanted to, but this 5th bet should be a big indication to Will as to what kind of shape he's in.
You're like the one guy I didn't want to get involved in a pot with. This hurts.
That's why you decided to re-raise him 10,000 more.
You're supposed to fold.
Well, Will, 5-bet says you're supposed to fold.
I never like to let my children drown.
Doyle's referring to the chips he's already got in the pot. To my knowledge, both Pam and Todd Brunson are capable swimmers.
Okay, nice hand, Doyle.
Will's hand is sunk, and it might have saved him an awful lot of dough.
That was some power poker, a 60K pot without a flop.
Another pocket pair for Doyle Brunson. Raising to 1,200 with his 7s. Action folds on over to the loose cannon, Will Davis.
Yeah, he says, I don't want to get in a pot with Doyle.
I haven't learned.
Re-raises to 4,300.
This is a very aggressive play with Queen Jack, even in position.
Now back on over to Doyle, who makes the call. So these two will tango yet again.
Wait a second, I've seen this movie.
The flop, queen tray 10, top pair for Davis. Check by Brunson. Check by Davis.
Will re-raise pretty light pre-flop. Now he's checking top pair.
8 of diamonds on the turn.
Could be that he didn't want to be check raised by Doyle.
Doyle's checked on over to Will Davis. Bets 5,300.
Will's got an inside straight draw now to go with his pair of queens. 3 overcards out there. Doyle sevens aren't looking so hot.
Yeah, I better let you go this time.
Doyle folds. Pocket kings again for Brunson.
Doyle's 4th big pocket pair, and we're only 22 hands in.
Just calls.
Playing it tricky.
We'll find out.
Williams folds. Davis folds.
We don't know.
Abe's in with pocket 8s.
All I know is I'm the least experienced player at this table. And no limit holder. By far.
Just make it. We should just make a triple draw just for you.
Another big pocket pair for Doyle. Going to try another slow play.
Jack deuce tray, 2 diamonds. Masseri checks. Negreanu bets 3,200.
Daniel raised pre-flop. He's continuation betting here. Something tells me it's not going to work. Doyle looks like he's thinking about a raise. Try to get some value.
Doyle with a re-raise to 15-2.
It's tough to get value out of a re-raise that big. Abe may have liked his 8s before. Probably not so much now.
Gets rid of him. And Daniel folds.
What do we got? Tell him how smart you are.
I have no idea.
No,
what you
tell
have.
him.
I really don't know. Kings? Kings?
I mean, how you gonna beat this guy? He knows what you got all the time.
Did you go to old poker games and when you were playing in Texas with a gun every game?
There'd always be one handy. Let's put it that way.
Big fans of the Second Amendment in Texas.
Classic.
I know how to pick my chips up here and call.
Doyle's just working his way up to the VCR.
David Williams folds. 2 players to the flop. Deuce 8 deuce.
Trip deuces for Abe.
Check by Brunson. Check by Mosseri.
Setting a trap.
9 of hearts on the turn.
Check.
All right, now that flush and straight draws are out there, we should see a bet from Abe.
Brunson is checked on over to Abe, who makes it 1,500 to go. Doyle calls.
He's got an open-ended straight draw.
The river. The king of hearts.
This is a scare card for both players.
Doyle checks. Mosseri bets 4,000.
When Doyle checks, Abe feels safe enough to bet his hand.
What did you do?
Oh, that's for next time.
Doyle just messing with Abe. He did fold.
16.
Doyle raises to 1,600 with pocket 6s. Action folds around to Jason Calacanis. Pocket kings.
Chris.
Can pretty much never go wrong re-raising with kings.
Raised to 5,600.
Since it's pot limit pre-flop, Doyle's getting the right odds to call, try to hit his set.
And Doyle does call. 2 players to the flop. Tray 6-7. Doyle flops a set.
Putting on a running good seminar.
15,000.
Calacanis bets 15,000.
Board's got to look safe to Jason. With a bet like that, Calacanis has to have something. Doyle wants to extract as much value as he can right now. It's very unlikely that a set of 6s is beat.
This is 30.
Doyle makes it 30,000.
Now, if you notice, Doyle's only raised the minimum here. It's because he definitely wants a call. Maybe it'll even entice the amateur to ship over the top. Jason's not a very experienced player. He's probably not sure how to interpret a min raise. There's no ace on board. There's nothing really that scary out there. It's going to be very difficult for him to get away from this.
Jason calls.
See, if you got it all in, we could run it twice. Nothing. We're going to be at a guess.
Now, I'm not sure why Jason just called. If it was good enough to call, it's probably good enough to get it in.
The turn. 10 of clubs.
All in.
I call.
All in and a call.
Jason's about to see some very bad news.
3 6s.
Run it 10 times?
Wait.
Hang on.
You can run it 3 times if you want.
Sure.
3 times.
3 times.
You understand that? Okay.
That means you'll see the river card 3 times, playing for 1/3 of the pot each run. The first river, 5 of spades.
One for the good guys.
Give Jason 1. My 2 out.
Yeah, I won't be too mad.
Run number 2, 10 of hearts.
2.
And last chance for Jason to salvage something. It's a deuce and a sweep for Doyle.
Chipped.
I presume I've got you.
Yeah, you got him covered. For sure.
That is correct. Doyle wins a pot of more than $204,000. Action folds around to Doyle Brunson. With the Brunson.
And he's reaching for chips.
Raise the pot.
I guess if the hand's named after you, that does make you pot committed.
A raise to 4,400.
So 32 more?
Yes, correct.
Will calls.
I don't know if anyone's the real favorite against 10 deuce when Doyle's holding it.
8 queen deuce on the flop. Bottom pair for Doyle.
What you got approximately?
Oh, now you sound like an internet player.
No, not just approximately. That's good. I can
50,
see.
55, 60.
I'm all in.
Pushing it.
Doyle's all in.
Wow.
Fire up the TiVo. It's the Doyle Show.
Doyle Brunson poker, baby.
Will folds.
You said it.
Doyle shows the Brunson.
Oh, no.
You just can't help it with that hand.
First, Will gets zinged by Daniel, then he gets smoked by Doyle, putting on a show for the people at home. Brutal.
Another pair of ladies for Doyle Brunson.
Check his face for bruises. He's getting smacked with the deck.
He just calls. David Williams folds on the button. The loose cannon does as well. Abe Masseri, though, he's playing.
Doyle's just called with his queens, maybe trying to trap Jason yet again.
3 to the flop. 4 deuce jack, 3 diamonds.
No one's got a diamond.
Abe checks. Calacanis bets 4,000.
This is another very bad flop for Jason. It's a pretty safe board for Doyle. It's hard to put someone on a flop flush.
Doyle smooth calls.
Doyle's calling for pot control and to watch the diamond situation.
And Abe folds.
Easy fold for Abe.
So it's Calacanis and his top pair against Doyle Brunson and his queens. To the turn, another queen, giving Doyle a set.
If Doyle liked his hand before, he loves it now.
Calacanis is checked on over to the Hall of Famer.
He's probably going to bet now, try to build this pot.
Makes it 8,000 to go.
Another difficult spot. He lets it go. The tech guru must have seen the README file on Doyle.
Can we pick a card?
Yeah, you can.
The front one, this one right here.
That's it. Flip it. Thank you, God.
How about the other one?
Yeah, it's the same card.
The other one was the best it could be there. I think it was Queen of Diamonds.
Daniel limps in.
Talk to these
Doyle
guys.
gets a free look at the flop.
Daniel's hip with the kids.
Ace-8 versus Ace-8. Jack-6 jack. Check by Daniel. Check by Doyle. 3 hearts on the turn. Another check. And another check.
This is some power poker we're seeing here.
The river, king of hearts. Check.
Check. He beat it. Untied.
Oh, what a semi-slow roll.
That's a slow roll of the day so far.
I can handle it. If I get half my money back, I'm fine.
Hey, Daniel,
Yeah,
has Doyle ever really slow rolled you in a game?
Doyle has slow rolled me in a game one time by accident, for sure. Or so he says. I think he was trying to get me stuck and steaming because I was already down a bunch of money. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see I had that. All right, whatever you say.
When was that?
It was a stud hand, like a year and a half ago, probably.
I don't believe you.
Huh?
I don't believe you.
You're good read because I was bluffing. Never happened. And he bought it for a second, too.
I know they're cueing the music, but we're not going to a break. Doyle's in. Makes the call. Jack-10 offsuit.
Calacanis got the best hand going into the flop.
Which is 9 Jack-10, a monster flop.
Expect to see a lot of action here. Doyle checks his top 2.
Abe bets 3,000.
He's got a flush draw and a gut shot.
And a set for Calacanis.
Raise.
Announcing a raise to 13,000.
I like this raise. This board is sopping wet. He's going to want to try to protect his set. Doyle should be suspicious of a raise coming from an amateur. Tough for him to get away from top 2.
Where is it?
Doyle announcing a re-raise to $83,000.
Doyle's drawing very slim. He must be putting both his opponents on draws. He's right on 1 count. Abe is drawing.
Come on, we did it 3 times, Abe.
Good, huh?
Abe has to know he's behind at the moment. He's not getting great odds. He's got to commit all of his chips. He's not even drawing to the nuts. Calacanis is shuffling chips like he's drinking Adderall-flavored coffee. You know, Abe's only got 4,200 invested in this pot. He has no fold equity because Doyle's essentially moved all in.
All right, I'm all in.
Moves in anyway. This is a crazy move from Abe. Someone could easily have ace-10 of hearts or something like that.
You got more than 83?
Nah, probably not. I don't think so.
Whether he thinks he's ahead or behind, I'm sure Doyle would have rather Abe folded.
Wow.
Even though Jason has the best hand, the way the betting went, Abe and Doyle are both representing absolute monsters.
Don't think I can.
Big to low.
Don't think I can lay this down. This will be the biggest flame out in high stakes history. Or it'll be absolutely brilliant.
I'm glad to see he's stalling. Don't you tell you what his snap calls?
Wow. Somebody have a set of jacks here? And somebody have a straight already? And queen already? This will be a sick laydown.
Sounds like 3 9s.
Wow. This is ridiculous if I lay this down.
Remember, Calacanis has already stuck 100 dimes to Doyle.
Somebody must have flopped a straight.
Jason shows his hand, but it's not dead. This is a cash game.
You think you're gonna pick something up off of us by showing us the hand and telling us what you got?
No,
right.
I just was looking for some sympathy, actually. But apparently I'm not going to get any.
He folds.
Wow.
He had me crushed.
You had me crushed too. You fold that, Daniel? What'd you have? You don't have ace-10 of hearts, do you?
No.
Good.
Oh my God.
2 pair and
Oh my God. Please, I got
now
it.
you want to see a heart, right?
How many times do you want to run this?
3's good.
Let's run a 2. Let's run a 2 for simplicity.
It's up to you. I'd never argue about that.
Well, I know it's gonna be hard for you. It's gonna be hard for you to make a full house now.
You guys doing it twice, right?
Twice.
For the love of God, let it be a flush and a full house.
Tough spot.
Flush and a straight. Okay. For the love of God.
No, flush and a full house is what I'd like to see.
You want a jack to come on one, so you can feel real good about that.
I actually feel kind of bad about this for some reason. I don't know.
Because you feel bad about getting him out of the pot?
I don't know.
Yeah, thanks, Doyle.
No, I mean, I feel bad about the results.
I feel terrible about the results so far.
Abe has held over me too long.
Oh, stop it. You've held over me.
Yeah, right. Boom.
First run, 4 of diamonds.
One more blank, then it won't be so painful. Boom. Yeah.
Abe makes a flush.
That's the boom.
Thank you, God.
Just like I figured.
I had the same hand come up on a TV cash game show. I had the set of 10s. I folded. One guy had a beggar set, and one guy had the straight.
Wait, didn't you just criticize my fold?
It wasn't these players, and it wasn't this situation.
Wait, you do that?
I want to fold that either.
Oh, that was such a bad play?
It was definitely, it's one of those decisions where either way, it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
It's like if you fold, it's fine. If you call, it's fine.
Good for Doyle anyways. Sucked for me.
I'm feeling pretty good about it right now.
I give us the queen of clubs.
Second run.
Queen of clubs?
Yeah.
All right.
Makes Doyle a full house.
Ooh.
It'll be a split pot.
Trying to get your money back on the third one.
I would be leaving right now.
How much did you take back here?
I took back all my money, man.
Even though Jason laid down the best hand, he would have lost both runs. The wrong laydown at the right time.
I know I'm the only sane poker player.
You must be. Yeah, that's great. When someone's, I'm the only sane one here. They're usually the craziest person in the room. I mean, it's true.
Everybody's crazy but me.
I love that he gets so offended. He was on the bucket list. Like, you know, there's this guy who puts out the people that are most likely to die in the year. He was so offended, he sent the guy a note saying, I'll lay you 10 to 1 I don't die this year. That's Doyle for you.
I don't know if that guy ever paid, and we had to donate it to charity.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that guy ever did it or not.
I like a game we played once where the last person to ante had to ante twice. That's a good game. It's annoying after a while.
Yeah. Squeeze Busters is the game.
Yeah.
You'll see some funny hands.
Abe Masseri raises.
Okay.
Doyle calls.
Do you have a hand?
500 to fold.
Pair of jacks for Will Davis.
Raise the pot.
Announcing a raise
Good raise from Will to thin the field.
Total.
to 5,600. Abe folds.
How much altogether?
56, right?
Looks like Doyle's thinking about a call. He wants to try to snap the amateur off, and he's in position.
Looks like Doyle's going for another skin.
There's the call.
He's trying to skin another one.
I like the button.
The flop.
I think I already lose.
5-6 tray, 2 spades.
This flop looks pretty safe for Will. Doyle does have bottom pair and a straight draw.
Davis leads out, betting 8,000.
If Doyle hangs around and catches his straight, I'm not sure Will will be able to get away from it.
Doyle raises Davis all in.
Huge semi-bluff.
Oh,
A
God.
lot more. I wouldn't worry about counting it.
All right, I call Doyle. Nice hand.
Call.
No, whoa.
We have action. Loose cannon is ahead.
Loose cannon is ahead, but Doyle has a lot of outs.
You want to run it more than once?
It's up to him.
Up to you.
It's up to you. I never call it. I don't care. Once, twice.
I guess it's up to you then.
All right, I guess we're running it once.
Okay.
One time for my man. Gambolero.
Will agrees to
Doyle's
run
got
it
one
once
eye
like a
hand.
real baller.
He's got a lot to fade.
13 outs.
Yeah, put a spade out there.
Make it the deuce of spades and you can have it.
Good luck, Doyle.
You too.
Well ruined for you, Doyle.
I know. Can you feel the love?
This could be it for our loose cannon, Will Davis. He'll either double up or head back to Ohio. The turn card,
Boom.
Jack of Diamonds.
Oh, he's got diamonds though.
Yeah, this
What a
is
sick
getting
action
interesting.
card.
Now can we run it twice?
You can still take now a deuce, 7, or a diamond.
Do what you
No,
want.
I'll just do it once. Let's get it over with.
I like that. The gusto. Let's run it one time.
If Will Davis fades those outs, our loose cannon will double up. If not, he's going home. The river, the 6 of clubs, and Will survives.
Count it up.
Everybody's happy now.
Doyle is raised to 1,500. Action folds to Abe, who makes the call.
There you go, Papa.
Calacanis folds.
3 action players.
That's right, Daniel's made the call. The flop. 4-5 queen. Daniel checks.
Top pair for Doyle.
Fires 4 grand. Abe with middle pair calls, and Daniel folds.
A lot of history between Doyle and Abe. They play high-stakes limit poker all the time together.
Ace of clubs on the turn.
And Abe has just outdrawn Doyle. Abe's got 2 pair. Doyle's got the 1.
Plus a flush draw, and Doyle bets 9,000.
Now Abe's probably noticed there are some flush and some straight draws out there. He's going to want to put some more money into this pot while he thinks his hand is still best. Doyle's let out twice, and a big raise here could get Doyle to commit all of his chips while he's a huge dog.
Abe does not raise, he just calls.
I'm a little surprised Abe didn't raise. Might be trying to slow play his 2 pair.
The river card, the king of clubs completing the flush for Doyle Brunson.
That's right, Doyle now has the nuts.
Bets 19,000. Quick call.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, flush.
Somehow playing this passively saved Abe from losing any more money on the hand, but he might be regretting not raising the turn.
Doyle rakes in a pot of nearly $70,000.
How much do you want to bet Abe is not that quiet inside his head right now?
I wish I'd have checked it now.
Joe Doyle seems to think that Abe would have bet into him on the river, allowing Doyle to re-raise.
He might be right about that, but what Doyle's actually saying is that he wants Abe's money specifically. Mosseri and Brunson are big-time cash game rivals, so even though Doyle is up over $107,000, the money means a little bit more when coming from Abe.
I'll know in June if you could have called a re-raise if I'd have checked it. I know you'd have bet.
On the river?
Yeah.
What would you have done if I raised on the turn?
It's a good question, Dave. I don't know. That's the reason I think it'd be hard to track me, because I don't know myself what I'm going to do.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just saying. 84. Not pot or anything, but just 84.
And look at the hand for Doyle Brunson.
Doyle has picked up more giant hands than the cleaning crew at an NCAA game. He straddled, so this time he's got pre-flop position. Doesn't look like he's going to slow play them this time.
Doyle's coming over the top to 28-4.
They can play a real big pot. But yeah, raising out of position, that was a good idea.
The internet tycoon continues to get his firewall hacked.
And folds.
Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I honestly think Doyle is making one of them internet moves, the 4-bet bluff, but I don't have the balls to do anything about it, so I'm going to fold. But I do think you're making a move.
Daniel folds.
Too chicken. I
And
should
by
just
that
shove
he
it.
means
That's why you're the man.
I do think you were bluffing, but I don't know.
Bad read.
Doyle is officially inside Daniel's head.
This one's called the Gambler also.
Ace-6 suited for Daniel Negreanu.
70s, James
Gets a
Conner.
discount, he's in. And Doyle checks.
Square peg Calacanis ruined the family pot.
The Lakers. And he's like, I can't take no more Lakers, actually.
5 to the flop. 8-5 tray, 2 diamonds, action flop. Negreanu checks, Doyle checks.
Doyle had the worst hand going in. Now he has the best with top 2 pair.
Williams checks.
Cannon fires.
Cannon fires, third person again, 1,000.
With just a gut shot.
Abe raises to 3,500 with top pair. That gets Daniel to fold.
Doyle's trying to figure out if there's any way that he's beaten this limp pot. He's only behind to a set. It's very unlikely someone would have limped with a pair. Remember, Doyle and Abe have played a lot of poker together. Could be some mind games happening here.
I'm trying to see. Just raise your hand there a minute. I'm all in.
Okay.
I'm trying to see, boom.
Doyle all in. David folds. Loose cannon folds.
Lost the cannon.
See why I didn't put their hands up. Doyle just fired with an awfully big gun.
Abe with the nasty look. And the fold.
Don't shoot.
I don't know what you showed. An
8-8-8.
10-8? Yeah, 8-8.
10-8.
10-8.
I think Abe's going to go to bed tonight seeing that smile.
Take it, Doyle.
Thank you.
Hello. Aces for Doyle Brunson.
Turns out the poker gods are sick of giving Doyle kings and queens. Nowhere to go but up.
Raised to 1,500. David Williams calls on the button.
Let me think.
The loose cannon's in.
Still gearing up. Love it.
Abe's out. 3 to the flop. Tray Queen 8. Check by Davis.
Pretty safe flop for Doyle. Not sure he'll get a lot of action.
Doyle bets 4,500. David Williams calls.
Fold.
And the loose cannon folds.
Kind of a loose call for David with only a gut shot.
The turn. Ace of diamonds giving Brunson a set.
Doyle's hoping David was calling with an ace high, but in all likelihood, this is probably going to be an action-killing card.
Doyle leads out again. That's 8,200. David folds.
That was a good card. No.
What do you have?
Ace.
Oh, a lot of aces he had. He had a lot of aces.
What?
I was ready for the loose cannon fire there.
I had a good hand to play against that.
Here on hand 131 out of 150 and another pocket pair.
Doyle took a hand off from having pocket pairs just long enough for two guys to go broke.
Doyle raises to 1,500. Andrew Roble folds. Abe's in.
Actual dialogue that was.
Jason Calacanis, Queen 5 suited, is out. So too is Daniel. So the good friends who play an awful lot of poker together see the flop. Deuce, 8, 5, little sloppy. Doyle checks.
This isn't a scary board for 2-3s. Doyle checked because he's out of position. He's going to let Abe bet for him.
Abe with the flush draw bets 2,300.
Bit of a semi-bluff from Abe. He also has 2 overcards.
Doyle calls. The turn. 3 of hearts, an action card. Doyle checks.
This is the worst card ever for Doyle. He's turned a set. Abe's made a flush.
Abe fires 4,500.
Doyle's probably loving his hand right now. It's tough to put someone on a made flush. He could get into some real trouble if he gets frisky here.
And looks like he might. He's stacking chips and firing 19-5.
Clearly hasn't put Abe on hearts. Abe's probably trying to decide how much to raise. He doesn't have a lot of chips left, so his options are limited.
I'm all in.
Abe's all in.
I call.
And Doyle calls.
I got a king high flush.
Abe's showing Doyle his king-high flush. Doyle's dead to the board pairing.
One time.
One time? Okay, one time.
Looks like they've agreed to run it one time.
You choose. You want once, going twice?
Up to you.
You choose.
I don't like to choose. You choose.
All right, run twice.
2 times. I would have picked twice.
2 times, sir.
Well, now they're bickering, and so they've decided to run it twice. So that means that we will see the river card twice, playing for half the pot each time.
Interesting history between these guys. Interesting side bet as well. Doyle has laid Abe 100-1 that Abe will make it into the Poker Hall of Fame within Doyle's lifetime. Abe has bet against himself. Doyle expects to live a very long time.
Well, despite that bet, I'm sure that Abe is rooting for himself in this hand. The first river card, the 4 of clubs. Abe takes it down. He has won half the pot. The second river card, the 6 of spades, so make it a sweep for Abe Mosseri.
Start counting those Hall of Fame votes.
I raised the pot.
Pocket aces again for Doyle.
That's why he's the legend.
36 more.
A re-raise to 4,500. Pocket pair for Andrew Roble.
I was raising Abe, not you.
Oh.
48. Don't let that impact your play. 4,500.
Why do you take it so personal, Doyle?
Oh, because he's in the small blind.
Just think about it this way. It's going to help my Hall of Fame candidacy.
You're right.
You'll make 100 back that way.
Looks like Robocop is contemplating a call. Maybe going to try to set mine. Try to flop a 3.
I call.
There's the call. And Abe folds.
I lost the guy I was after and got the guy I didn't want.
Godfather has got it in for Abe.
Can't always get what you want.
9-7 jack on the flop.
Good flop for Doyle, but it might be hard for him to extract value.
Doyle checks.
Doyle's trying to let Andrew bet at it.
Roble checks. Doesn't bite. The turn, 10 of hearts.
Board just got a lot scarier.
Doyle checks.
Maybe checking just to slow things down a little bit, keep the pot under control.
Roble checks as well. The river, deuce of clubs.
Seems safe now with that many checks. Doyle bets.
Fires 10,000.
Andrew seems very reluctant to give up his baby pair. There's always something to prove for the new guy at the table. You don't want to sit down in the first few minutes and get bluffed.
Who you got, Doyle?
Dude, that's worked before.
I'm going to do the Daniel Negreanu. I'm going to guess you have 2 kings.
And fold.
You're close.
But see, I usually call. And they go, yep, 2 kings, all right.
Doyle's still smiling. He's got pocket kings.
Only pocket kings this time. Must have angered the poker gods.
Brunson raises to 1,500. Roble folds. Ace queen suited for Doyle's good friend.
Come, Abe.
I'm coming, Doyle. I'm coming.
His boy Abe's got a hand he can play with.
Abe calls. Daniel's out.
I just want to see tears this hand.
You'll see him.
Physical tears. If you could do that for me, that'd make my day.
Thank you, Dirty Harry. 9-6 tray, 2 spades.
Doyle's still out in front with his 2 kings.
Fires 3,000. Abe
What
folds.
do I got, Daniel?
I don't know. Kings, I guess.
What? How do you know everything?
You always have kings.
I had 6.
You're the biggest card rack ever on TV, and you always talk about how you never hold a hand and how do y'all get these hands? And I look at the stats. I look at the numbers. Doyle's leading the league in queens and
I
queens
heard
are
his
better.
interview, though. He gave away his strategy. He says he complains about never getting hands. So no one knows he gets like aces and kings, you know, or the
Every
hands he
third hand.
plays.
Raises to 1,200. Doyle calls. No pocket pair, by the way.
I know your button raise unopened is very high.
Is it too high? Should I fold this hand next time?
Probably on my blind.
Yeah. Well, your blind is you're tight though. That's why. Because your defense percentage in the BB is very low. How you like them apples?
We've crunched the numbers, and Daniel's only raised on his button 50% of the time.
Queen deuce 6 on the flop. Doyle with middle pair checks.
And look at that. He hit his 3-outer on Daniel.
Daniel checks. The turn. 7 of hearts.
I know you got a deuce, so you're probably going to call me. So
Doyle bets
That's
3,000.
funny that he said that. Double check.
Daniel calls.
Daniel's calling here because he thinks his ace high is good a decent amount of the time.
The river. 4 of diamonds.
Doyle still got the best hand with a pair of 6s.
Comes out firing again. 4,500.
This is a fairly small bet. If Daniel's thinking about calling, it's because he sees there are a few busted draws out there, clubs, straights. And for this reason, it's a very good bet by Doyle.
Weird.
Daniel just doesn't seem to be buying what Doyle is selling.
Daniel calls.
6s.
Who could beat that? That's the nuts.
Doyle wins a pot of more than 18,000.
I was hoping you're going to say 8-9, not 6-8.
Look at that read. Put him on the deuce and then value bet him to death.
Well, you had to be here. There's a history behind all that.
Doyle calls.
Doyle's defense is pretty loose, but it's a standard sort of loose. A lot of players don't like folding with this many players in the pot.
The flop. 7-9 jack, 2 hearts. Doyle flops a straight and checks.
Doyle's checked the nuts. Meanwhile, Bonomo flops top pair on a board that's wetter than the Bellagio fountains.
And fires 4,500. Barry folds.
Okay.
Daniel folds.
Everybody start with 100. I guess I better get my cards over here.
Russ Harlow actually started with 116K. Daniel with 200 grand.
Doyle's trying to figure out how strong a hand Justin would bet with and if it's strong enough to withstand a raise.
Doyle raises to 19.5.
That's one of those, eat some of that.
Doyle's asking Justin if he's down with OTT.
That stands for over the top, right?
You got it. Justin does have outs to the bigger nuts, but it would take runner, so this may have put a monkey wrench in Justin's plans. He probably has a pretty good idea Doyle's not making a play.
Bonomo folds top pair.
Nice hand, Doyle.
Awfully early yet.
What did he make it?
Tried to make it 4,500, by the way.
Go easy on him. It's only his 3rd time on the show. Doyle, we are pot limit pre-flop.
Barry re-raises to 6 grand. Pocket kings for Daniel.
I'd expect to see a 4-bet here typically.
Nope, just calls.
Was that just for TV time, or you really got,
Yeah, just for TV time.
you got that tough a hand?
I was confused. I have a very good hand.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Doyle's not getting the right odds, but he is in position.
And calls.
I think by not raising, Daniel was hoping to not chase everyone out, but now he's got to play kings against 2 opponents.
The flop, queen deuce tray, top pair for Barry.
This is exactly the kind of flop Daniel wanted.
Greenstein fires 10 grand.
Barry and Doyle both have a piece, and Barry's piece is big enough to lose him a lot of money.
Daniel just calls. And Doyle calls with middle pair.
Even with a piece of this flop, that's a pretty loose call from Doyle.
Unless you get trips on the turn. Barry checks.
Barry's now got the nut flush draw. Daniel will have no idea someone hit this 3.
This is fun right off the bat. I have no idea what to do.
He knows with this many players along for the ride, his kings are very susceptible.
I check.
Daniel checks.
I don't know if Doyle used instinct, intuition, or got incredibly lucky, but he has both of these guys in bad shape. If Barry and Daniel were checking to trap, they are in trouble.
Doyle bets 21,000.
Something tells me Barry doesn't like this bet, but in this spot, he's going to have the best hand a fair percentage of the time, and with the nut flush draw, he's even less likely to be drawing dead.
Very little hesitation move, but he calls.
Daniel can't really like that bet either, or the call from Barry. He's right to think about this hand, but I don't see how he could get away from it, even if his spidey sense is going off. Like Barry, he's just not going to be beat very often in this spot. Having to make this decision is one of the pitfalls of slow playing big pairs pre-flop.
Daniel calls. The river. 4 of diamonds giving Barry a flush.
Barry called the turn hoping to hit a diamond. Let's see if he still likes it.
All in.
He does. Barry's all in.
Those are pretty much the kings of comedy at this point.
Daniel folds.
That's a card I didn't want to see.
I don't really see Barry making this play without a flush or a full house.
I call it.
Doyle calls and sees the bad news.
That's what I was afraid of.
You turned a 3 to a? If I raised the flop, I would have lost the whole thing.
Yeah, I wasn't going anywhere.
No, I had you.
You had me beat? Jeez, you gotta be kidding.
That's the story of my life lately.
Doyle will not fold.
Now it's Doyle's turn with a big pocket pair.
Raise the pot.
Doyle raises to 6,600. Lex folds, so does Barry.
66 is the total, right? So I owe 52, right?
I just wanted to put Barry on tilt.
I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood too.
You're in the mood. And you bought another 100, right? I got something to win if I hit.
Daniel calls.
It was no surprise that the 2 guys I was against came after me the next hand.
Daniel looking to snap Doyle's big pair off.
10-7-10. Daniel does hit bottom pair.
Safe board for Doyle, and it could be trouble for Daniel. He may have caught himself a costly piece of it.
18.
Doyle bets 18,000.
We're early in the game, and Daniel knows Doyle is already stuck nearly 100 grand. He might think Doyle's steaming with this bet.
Daniel calls.
Daniel is obviously still not convinced Doyle has a bigger pair. Could get himself in some real trouble here.
The turn, the 5 of clubs.
Neither player improves. Doyle's still got the best hand. The 5 wouldn't have changed much, so if Doyle liked his hand on the flop, he should still like it now.
Guess I just got enough for one bet.
Doyle shoves.
This is a pretty big bet for Daniel to think his 7 is good.
Every time I watch, Doyle always has kings.
Close.
Doyle always has kings. I don't feel like you have kings, though.
You are 100% correct.
Could be drawing completely dead, right, if you have a 10?
Daniel's not drawing dead, but it's more likely your marriage will end in divorce than Daniel will catch up here. There's only 1 7 left in the deck.
Got the Doyle Brunson hand, the 10 deuce. Some smells about this hand.
Look, I think Russ smells it too.
Everything leads me to believe that I should never fold here for some stupid reason.
Doyle probably knows that Daniel has a tendency to make hero calls. This hero call could earn Doyle a new Cadillac.
Just shipped it like that.
Doyle's shove is a big giveaway to the strength of his hand. He doesn't really have any draws to protect against, and a 10 had him beat from the flop.
Yeah. I like Doyle either way, right? So if I win the money, I'll be happy because I've won. And if I lose, it goes to a good guy. It's like a win-win situation. The only thing I can do if it would be bad is fold, get bluffed, feel stupid. So I'll just call it.
Daniel calls.
You got anything? Oh, that's good. Yeah, I just have a 7. Okay. I have 2 outs.
No, just one. Justin folded a 7.
You'll deal once or twice or 3
I do
times?
twice. It's
Whatever
fine.
you want. I don't care.
2 is good for me.
All right. Deal it twice. Maybe we can split it. Maybe I'll get a split.
Maybe you'll get a split. And you get a lot of big pairs. I was thinking, how many can you get?
The first run for half is a queen.
The 6 tray last time.
What's that?
That blocky last time.
Brunson wins the first run worth nearly 112 grand.
Apparently Daniel had me beat.
Second run is a king.
Oops.
Nice hand.
Doyle takes them both, and Daniel's in a free fall.
I play small ball.
I see that.
Doyle calls. Lex is out. Bonomo's in.
Justin has Barry dominated, and Barry and Doyle are blocking a bunch of each other's outs.
Trey 4 king, 2 hearts on the flop. Bonomo checks top pair. Greenstein checks.
WTF, someone check Barry for a pulse. He just forgot to C-bet. There goes his perfect record. What am I going to do with this plaque and gift certificate to the Olive Garden?
Doyle bets 3,600 with nothing.
Doyle's taking a complete stab at this in position.
Bonomo calls. Barry gets a last look and folds. The turn, the 9 of spades.
Doyle's picked up no more outs.
Bonomo checks again.
Let's see if he continues to try to rep Justin's hand.
As we can see by the odds, the only way Doyle will take this one down is with a big-time bluff. And he tries, betting 10,000.
That bet is nearly pot-sized, or that bluff is, I should say. It's hard to think Doyle gained any ground with that card.
Bonomo calls. Off to the river, the 5 of diamonds. Bonomo checks the better hand.
Will Doyle fire the third barrel or raise the white flag?
This is how you do it, Daniel.
Just give up.
Flag, and Bonomo wins.
See, the only thing... Oh, you had nothing, too.
Doyle, queen 10 suited. Raise. Lex folds. Bonomo, ace queen.
Doyle doesn't get as out of line in position as the rest of these guys, but Justin's still ahead of his range.
Raise.
Bonomo repops. Barry folds his 6s without even giving it a second thought. And Doyle just quickly calls.
Barry knows he's worse than racing, and Doyle's suited and in position. He doesn't know he's dominated.
Trey 10-7, top pair for Doyle. Action on Bonomo, who bets 7,000.
Justin C-betting into the man with top pair.
Doyle calls. The turn, the 4 of clubs, giving Bonomo a flush draw.
If Justin wants to continue to be the pretender, he can semi-bluff. I still think he's unlikely to get Doyle off top pair.
Bonomo bets 18 grand.
What crazy action game, huh? Like
Crazy.
more big pots than all the games I played before.
This is Daniel's 5th appearance on the big game.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Big gulp from Justin.
Doyle calls.
Double gulp.
The big gulp. 10 of hearts on the river, giving Doyle trip 10s.
If Justin was trying to get Doyle to fold a 10, he probably knows it's time to let it die.
Bonomo does check.
Gonna be tough for Doyle to figure out the perfect size value bet without using any math.
Doyle bets 38,000.
Ace high, no good.
And Bonomo folds. Doyle, I know you're not a huge fan of the math, but you did pick up another $31,000 in profits on this hand from a young gun.
When you talk about me, you got to qualify young Doyle or old Doyle.
Why, do you used to play different?
Yes.
Yes?
Oh, really?
You don't like
Flat
playing
calling
that way
with
no more?
kings and everything pre-flop. You play too much with Phil Hellmuth. You're getting trappy now.
Lex straddles, so action on Bonomo. Doyle, ace-queen. Calls.
That's a pretty easy defend.
Lex is out of here.
Doyle has Justin dominated.
The flop. 6 tray king, 2 hearts. Doyle still best and checks.
Doyle checks and flow. Justin had the pre-flop lead.
Fires 5,000.
Justin raised under the gun, then fired here. This would indicate strength. Let's see if Doyle still likes his ace-queen.
Likes it enough to call. 4 of hearts on the turn.
Check.
Doyle checks.
Neither player holds a heart.
You say check?
Bonomo checks.
Both players slow down on the turn.
4 diamonds on the river.
Doyle might like his hand a little bit better now that Justin checked the turn.
Makes it 17,000 to go.
Well, this is definitely a bluff.
And it works as Bonomo folds. That would be the winning hand, my friend, as Doyle Brunson scoops up a nice little pot. Doyle raised to 1,600. Pocket pair for Lex. He calls.
This should be a 5-card race, but Bonomo folded a 5.
But Lex hits the case 5, giving him a set. Doyle, however, has the nut flush draw.
Oh man, this is an action flop.
Doyle fires 2,500.
Lex ain't folding and his hand is disguised, so we might even see a raise. He'll want to charge Doyle if he's got a diamond draw, which we know he does.
There's the raise to 8,200.
Lex's image is likely to get Doyle to commit some more chips. That's one of the benefits of playing so nuts. You get paid when you have them.
Doyle re-raises to 33-2.
Looks like this re-raise from Doyle has given Lex some cause for concern. Either that or he's Hollywooding. It's possible Doyle could have a bigger set, but I don't think it happens often enough that you could ever fold this. On a board like this, it's almost impossible to fold a set because it's so much more likely you're facing a draw than a bigger set.
Lex calls.
I'm not sure if Lex loves his hand. He might want to see another card and reevaluate.
That next card is an 8, giving Lex a full house.
That eliminates any diamond fears Lex might have had, and it pretty much narrows down Doyle's hand to a bluff or a set of queens. That second 8 hitting makes pocket 8s way less likely. Looks like Doyle's about to commit some more money to this pot, drawing completely dead.
Fires 75 grand.
I'm all in.
Lex is all in.
Lex doesn't even have enough to make a full raise, so all in is just about his only move.
Maybe totally dead here. 20, 25, 35 more. About 40 more. It's the first hand, right?
Doyle has painted himself into a corner here. He's 37K more for a pot of 257,000. He's pot committed, which is a scary place to be when you're drawing dead.
37?
37-2.
Brunson calls and sees the terrible news.
Got ace.
He's got it. Let him have it.
Lex wins the biggest pot of the week. They'll run the meaningless river card. Wouldn't even have made Doyle his flush. Jacks for Doyle. Calls.
Daniel's a 4-1 dog headed into this flop.
Which is 9-4-5, 2 spades.
This is a pretty good board for both hands, which means it's actually a really bad board for Daniel.
Daniel fires 5 grand.
Plus, Doyle didn't re-raise in position pre-flop, so his hand will be disguised. This is a great board for jacks.
Doyle shoves.
What in the world are you doing? This is so weird, Doyle.
Moving all in.
You got a flush draw or something?
Maybe.
Ugh, I always call him. How much has he got? I
75,000.
just give you so much money. It's unbelievable. Without me, what would your kids do without me, Doyle? What would your children do?
Here comes the pre-call moan.
What's that? Yeah, I'm proud. This is my pre-call mode. This is what it's doing.
Doyle has just made a risky play. He's beating Daniel, but he's risking 90K to win 10. It might be a winning play in the long run, but it's not optimal.
More than I thought I had again.
You just keep shipping like gazillions against me.
Whoops. No. Oh, yeah, you're right.
You lose value when they fold by not milking the streets and lose huge when you do lose.
This is ridiculous.
However, Doyle did get Daniel to call off super light earlier in the week with the same move.
So you got flush draw and something. I mean, you're trying to pretend you have a flush draw with this big silly bet. You have a 9 and a flush draw.
Doyle does seem to have Daniel confused.
Oh boy, I just gotta.
Daniel folds.
You're my hero, Doyle.
He ships the freaking 90. Couldn't you make it 15 or something?
We like young Doyle.
I play small ball.
Doyle was hoping for a call, but he got some laughs instead. Doyle, Jack 9 suited.
A suited one gapper in position can be profitable.
$25 more, I think.
He's just betting a random amount. Blah, whatever.
I'm guessing.
He's guessing.
Raises to 3,300. Lex again with ace-king. Repops to 11-4. Bonomo folds queen-jack. Barry's out. Daniel's gone too. And Doyle's got chips in hand and makes the call.
Well, this is a loose call, but Doyle's losing, and he knows you can only win if you don't fold, but I wouldn't recommend trying this at home.
10-8-7. Doyle flops a straight and checks.
Just like a lot of other late-night TV, I must warn you, results not typical.
Lex doesn't fall into Doyle's trap. Jack of spades on the turn, giving Lex a gut shot.
That board just got harder for Doyle to get paid.
Brunson bets and Lex folds.
It's possible. Doyle finally beat him a pot. That's the first time I've ever seen you beat him a pot.
Yeah.
I think he stole my blind ones.
He stole your blind ones?
More importantly, Doyle has stolen Lex's heart.
Ace-6 suited for the cannon.
Can tell Russ doesn't love it.
But he's going to play it.
Bit of a crying call, but he is ahead.
The flop, deuce-8 jack, top pair for Doyle.
Russ has no piece.
And checks. Brunson fires 2,100. Harlow quickly calls.
Russ isn't convinced Doyle's got him beat yet.
Now Doyle has 2 pair and has Harlow drawing dead.
Drawing dead more ways than one. He can't win the hand, and there's no way he'll bluff Doyle off it.
Harlow checks over to the Hall of Famer.
Now Doyle's really hoping Russ had something on the flop, specifically a jack.
Doyle bets 5,300, and Harlow folds.
Yeah, that was really good.
Well, poker was different when you just had to learn on your own. It made it a lot tougher and a lot more skillful because you had to have natural talent. Now you can just, like with anything, you can just learn how to play from other people.
But no one played it back then. It wasn't accessible.
Oh, Doyle played it? Well, no one played it. He played it.
You didn't have 8,000 players in the main event back then.
No, of course not.
Benny Binion said, you know, someday we might have 100 people in this.
2010 World Series of Poker had over 7,300 entrants.
100 people. Someday we might have 20,000.
I remember it like it was yesterday. He said it.
Did you laugh at him?
No. I agreed with him. We didn't care. We just
Yeah.
wanted somebody to come out for the side games. This just keeps coming up over and over, and I hate to throw my hand on
I
it.
haven't seen my hand and I'm not going to look. So I'm gonna need to. That's a good time to turn it over. I can handle that joke, by the way, if you turn over my hand.
I'm probably the most gentle little blind player in poker history then.
Doyle will take all your money, but he'll do it gently.
Ace-queen for Doyle. Raises.
Doyle with a 3-bet.
Lex. Pocket sixes. Calls from the button. Justin and Barry are out.
Looks like a good spot. Looks like not a good spot to do that, just a good spot to see a flop.
Russ does have live cards.
He calls too.
These guys all know Russ is going to have to get it in soon, so expect to see a lot of multi-way pots as they fight over his chips like hungry, hungry hippos.
Great game. 4-7 king, 2 spades. Daniel checks bottom pair. Harlow checks.
Doyle was the last aggressor.
And now he c-bets 19,000.
Since no one has a king, it'll look mighty strong for him to bet into 3 people.
Take it down.
I only won one.
Doyle will win it.
Wins it with aggression and position.
Raises to 1,300.
Allen wants to make the most of his time here, it looks like.
Doyle calls with a pocket pair. Lex is out.
Lex is out?
I know, surprising. 5-4 deuce, 2 diamonds on the flop. Doyle checks the best hand.
Doyle probably likes his hand, but he checks to play in flow.
Allen Berry checks top pair. 9 of spades on the turn.
Even though the 9's an overcard, it's a small part of Allen's range, which is super wide from the button.
Brunson fires 3,000.
Allen's got to be thinking the same thing about the 9, and Doyle could be betting a 4 or a deuce at this point, too.
Allen Berry calls. The river. Jack of diamonds.
2 overcards out there, and the flush draw comes in. So neither player can be too happy about that.
Doyle leads out to 7,000.
Doyle must think Allen would have bet a flush draw by now. Allen's hand isn't all that different from Doyle's, though it is second best. I'm not so sure Doyle would bet a worse hand than 5s at this point, but that's up to Allen to decide.
Allen Berry calls.
2 8s.
Ace?
Eights.
Eights.
8s are good.
Nice hand.
Doyle takes down the pot worth 24 grand and welcomes Al to the big game. Keep your chin up, kid.
Meanwhile, Doyle is still trying to fight his way back to even here tonight. He's still down over 75K.
Keep your chin up, Dolly.
It's just so easy. Why don't even do it, right?
I would have folded.
Doyle and his neighbor back at it.
Now you're going to see a flop trips or something.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Nope, something better. Doyle flops a full house and checks. Lex bets 600.
Lex has donated a bit, but whether Doyle calls or raises, he'll look awfully strong. So if he really wants to fool Lex, I recommend that he fold.
Doyle fires.
I just hope he had a jack.
Oh, snap. He flopped the boat.
Finally flopped the full house.
That was on the way. Yeah,
Another hand.
I've had a lot of big hands.
Underplayed another one, though.
Now, the only chance I saw to get out if he had a jack.
Yeah. But I would have been sick. I didn't know. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're getting it.
Lex knows he'd have gone broke with a jack.
And he didn't fill up.
Despite that win, Doyle's still stuck over 100 grand. Doyle Brunson also a suited 1 gapper on the button.
Galfon's getting loose early.
The legend calls. Scott Seaver, very active the first time we saw him on the big game. Folds.
You have such a deep voice. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
So deep.
His what?
He has such a deep voice.
2 to the flop.
One of the funniest things I heard Joe Stapleton say was that if Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen had a love child.
I get that. I've gotten that a lot.
Amanda thinks so too.
Nice one, Stapes.
TY, but thank his parents.
Trip jacks for poker royalty. Galfon flopped a flush draw and bet 2,200, and Brunson just calls.
Semi-bluff from Galfon.
4 of diamonds on the turn.
Small pair for Galfon to go with his flush draw.
He checks.
Galfon slows down because he made that pair. He might not have to bluff anymore.
Brunson bets 6,000.
Yeah, Phil Galfon could be my favorite child player.
Child player? What do you mean child player? Because he's young?
That sounds like it could be.
I'm old now.
Doyle may have something to say about that. Galfon's got a pair and a flush draw, which typically has pretty good equity, but we know he's facing trips.
He folds.
Kings.
And Doyle flashes that timeless smile.
What is going on here?
Doyle's doing a little something for the people at home, that's what.
Really?
Repops. Action folds back to the cannon.
I have a pretty good hand. I'm not gonna play it with you though.
I was hoping so.
I
I got to get rid of
That's
it.
the only hand you ever re-raise with. It can't be anything good. It's got to be 10 deuce if he's re-raising.
10 deuce or kings?
No, kings, he just waits. He flats and lets someone else just donate to him.
Brunson limps.
No one ever say, oh, that's awful.
Seaver folds.
Yeah. Seems like a fair assessment.
Hashem calls. Daniel's out.
There's so much in the pot. My hand's so bad.
So much, 0.4% of your stack.
It's going to be really embarrassing. It's really, really bad.
If you win this?
No, if you show his hand.
No, if I win.
Giving checks.
I'll be proud. If he loses, it'll be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Jack,
To be
7
fair,
deuce.
When you're filled, any hand you lose, it's kind of embarrassing that you didn't win it.
Goes check to Brunson.
They call it the burden of greatness.
Bets middle pair.
All right, that was embarrassing.
Hashem folds. Galfon's out.
I thought Galfon might peel there.
Yes.
Given calls with his middle pair.
Go get him.
I
Feel the love, Doyle. You feel it?
Deuce on the turn would have given Galfon trips. Action on the cannon. Goes check. 8 on the river.
We might be looking at another chop.
Given checks.
Okay.
7. Same hand.
No Aussie rules chop pot slow rolls between Doyle and the Canadian guy he thinks is from the South.
Thought you might have had the 10 deuce there again.
When a hand's named after you, people tend to put you on it. Doyle, Cowboys.
Doyle's hat may be a tell.
He raises.
You're doing fine. It's early.
It's very early, very early.
You'll get your chance to get your money in.
Oh, I know.
Hashem calls.
Don't let these boys push you around, okay?
Says
Yeah, well,
Mr. Bully himself.
I was thinking
Daniel
about
folds.
3-betting you back there on that last
Over to Galfond. Ace tray suited. Calls.
Doyle didn't limp with kings as Daniel predicted.
3 to the flop. 10 trade jack, all clubs. Doyle's king still best. Galfond checks.
Doyle, I'm waiting for you.
No one has a club.
Anytime you want to check, Doyle, go ahead.
That's a wet board, so Doyle should bet to charge anyone to draw.
There it is, 3,500.
Check this out, he says.
I like it.
Hashem did flop a pair, but it might be tough to continue with no club. And he should also factor in how often Doyle would bet into 2 people with nothing in this spot versus how often he'll have Joe smashed to bits, like now.
Hashem folds. Galfond 2.
But you can't guess what I got.
With 2 kings?
This
This guy knows every time.
You're just the easiest man to read ever. You just always have kings.
You always got kings, it's easy.
I usually call, though, to see him.
You always call me.
What's that? I always call to see him.
I guess during the offseason, Daniel realized he can see Doyle's kings on TV for a lot less.
Galfond bets 1,000.
That's not going to be it.
Given folds.
What?
Doyle, I did it.
Okay,
Doyle.
gotcha.
Took down a huge one.
That's why you got to play continue with it. You can't just hit it and let it fall off.
Props from the Godfather.
I'm sure, like, if you had a statistic for number of times people play 10 deuce on the big game when Doyle's at the table versus when Doyle isn't.
Hey, guess what? There's a stat for that. In the history of the big game without Doyle at the table, those rags are played 8.5% of the time. With Doyle present, but not including the hands Doyle played himself, that number goes up to 12.5%, which is a 47% increase. And Doyle Brunson has played the Brunson 83.3% of the times he's been dealt it, which actually seems a little low to me, because I'd play the Stapes 100% of the time if there was such a hand. Unfortunately, the Stapes is just a joker and the card with the rules on it.
Where's the 3-bet, though?
He doesn't need to every time.
Yeah, if I do it twice in a row, he's going to know.
I'm going to get angry with him. I'll be upset with him.
Now Doyle's going to win the hand because of you.
The cannon folded. Doyle called. 8-4 suited for Seaver.
Now I'm going to win the hand because of you.
Calls.
4 players.
Seaver is confident enough in his game that he can make a loose call like this out of position and outplay the table post-flop.
Deuce 6-10. Brunson the nut flush draw. Checks. Seaver checks.
Daniel has the best hand.
And checks. Galfond checks. 10 of diamonds on the turn gives Doyle a flush.
It may be tough for him to get action since the only real draw at this point is a gut shot.
He fires 4,000. Seaver folds. Daniel 2.
You're right. That was my fault. Yeah. Let Doyle win.
Galfon's out.
Had a good hand.
And Doyle wins.
I had a very good hand, so I didn't re-raise.
Better hand than you.
The legend's now up nearly 11 grand. Jacks for Doyle, who raises. 8s for Scott Seaver.
We've seen Seaver go crazy with less.
Doesn't go crazy, just calls. Hashem folds.
What's his name? Bill Winnington? Chicago Bulls, Bill Winnington? Canadian.
Daniel folds.
He was big, 6'10", I think. Trying to think of every tall Canadian I've heard of.
I think he was bigger than that, actually.
He was. He was a 7-footer on 3 of Michael Jordan's title teams.
And I thought you only did football and baseball.
And poker. Trey deuce. Brunson still best. Fires 3,000.
There are no overcards out there for either player's hand, which is bad news for Seaver.
Seaver calls. 6 of spades on the turn. Brunson checks. Seaver checks. Queen of clubs on the river.
Doyle may have missed some value on the turn, but Scott Seaver is a dangerous player to have on your left, and it looks like he might feel like it's safe to bet now.
Doyle does, 9,000.
Doyle's made up for the turn check with a big bet here on the river, almost the full pot. Against a lot of other players at this table, I think this would be a snap call for Scott.
Fold.
Should never complain about ace-queen again, Doyle. It got there.
It did, yeah.
It got there.
Jacks for Doyle.
This is so unlike you. Did you not take your medication this morning?
Unlike him in what way?
Like every hand, 3-bet, 4-bet.
No, that's exactly like him. Well, who do you play with?
I've never seen him do that.
That's all I've ever seen him do.
Really?
That's a sign of a good player, right? One person thinks he's tight, one person thinks he's loose, one person thinks he's aggressive, one person thinks
Doyle calls.
Well said, poker blogger.
38 is the total, yeah?
Daniel's in.
Well, no, don't worry about that. Nobody thinks you're tight. Nobody thinks you're passive. So you don't have to worry about that.
3 to the flop.
See, even new people come to the game.
6, 4, 10, 2 diamonds. Doyle still best, even though Galfon hit top pair.
This is a pretty magical flop for Doyle. He's got the overpair to the board, and Galfon's got top. Not to mention Daniel's double gutted.
Action on Brunson. Bets 9,200.
Doyle's just donk bet into 2 players, so it's probably pretty easy for Daniel to put him on top pair or better. But not only does Daniel have a strong draw, but it's big time disguised.
Daniel calls.
Galfon probably liked his hand a lot more before there was a donk bet and a call in front of him. He may still be confident in his hand, but his spidey senses are definitely tingling. I guess that would make Doyle Doc Ock.
Would that then make Daniel the Hobgoblin?
Actually, Hobgoblin was Green Goblin's son, so no, that makes no sense.
Okay, thank you. Phil calls. The turn, deuce of hearts.
This is a pretty good card for Doyle's hand since it's not an overcard. Although 3-5 just got there, and we know players like Daniel and Phil Galfon will play a hand like 3-5 from time to time.
Doyle slows down and checks.
With 2 callers on the flop, Doyle may want to keep this pot from getting out of control.
Daniel checks.
Now it goes check. Maybe Galfon's spidey senses are calming down a bit.
Still checks. Tray of hearts on the river.
This card is a brick for the players in the hand, but anyone who was holding a 5 would have just gotten there.
Doyle checks. Daniel checks.
Check.
Doyle shows and wins a pot of nearly 40 grand.
I was really hoping Phil had 10 deuce, though. Yeah. I really thought you might.
I really could have.
I know.
There's a reason they call it the Brunson, son.
Ace-8 suited for Doyle Brunson. Makes it a 4-way pot.
A suited ace is a perfectly fine defend from the big blind.
9 deuce queen. Doyle flops a nut flush. Action on Given, who's open-ended and has a flush draw.
This is a horrible flop for Bill Given. He may think he has a strong draw, but any money he commits to this pot will be a donation to Doyle's hat fund.
Goes check to Galfond.
Doyle appears to be content to let others do the betting for him. If Phil thinks his 5s might be best, it's the kind of hand that could use some protection on this board.
Galfond bets 2,600.
This normally would be a good spot to raise for the cannon. Personally, I know I'd get called by the ace of diamonds, which is beating me already, so I probably wouldn't stick it all in. Typically, Given would have a thin draw to a straight flush, but Joe Hashem folded the jack of diamonds.
10.
Given raises to 10,000.
This raise looks awfully strong by the loose cannon, so whatever Doyle does here is going to look pretty strong too. But with the nuts, he probably doesn't want to chase everyone away. Right now, Doyle's just trying to figure out how to get the rest of Given's money, and hopefully someone else's too.
Doyle just calls. Seaver folds. So does Galfond. The turn makes Given a straight.
Well, this is just about the worst card ever for Bill Given.
All in.
He's all in. Doyle calls.
He's got the nuts.
I got the... Oh. I just straight. Good hand. I'm drawing dead. Good game, guys.
Good game, man.
It was fun.
Whoa, Canada. That's it for the cannon.
Dang, you hit the card and you didn't...
Yeah. Scott.
That was a...
Bill, all the best, man.
Thanks,
You went out fighting at least.
Daniel.
Yeah, definitely. Good game, Bill.
Phil. Good luck, guys.
You know what the Godfather says there? It's not personal, Sonny. It's strictly business.
Galfond. 10-7 suited. Raises to 1,400. Jones folds. King-6 suited for Doyle. Calls.
Oh, I was hoping you had a flush.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a flush.
'Cause that would have been good for me. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Unless you had the ace-high flush.
Right.
Because, see, I had the king-high flush. That would have been bad for me because I would have lost all of it.
Right.
I wasn't folding it no matter what you did.
I wasn't going to try to get you to fold
You
it.
could have showed me the ace of clubs. I'm still going all in.
What if he shows you
I'm not
two
scared.
clubs with one of them?
Actually, if you show me the ace, I'll wait and see if another club comes first.
Doyle flopped a flush draw. Action on Galfond, who bets 2,400.
This is just a continuation bet. Doyle's got a very strong draw.
Doyle raises to 8,000.
It's a semi-bluff raise. This is where Doyle's image helps him. Most players would make this play on a semi-bluff, but Doyle's doing it, so a semi-bluff is near the bottom of his range with what he'd do this with.
Doyle takes it down while Daniel's still tilting from sweating a chop with pocket aces last night.
And it was like, I never had a fighting chance. It was
Hey,
like
like
10.
you
And then
never-
it's just like, oh, please don't be it.
Yeah.
Please don't hit me. Oh, nothing good ever happened.
I know, it's so sick.
Just win like that.
Doyle raises from the cutoff.
Let's...
Yeah, take it easy.
Don't tell. Don't worry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, don't educate?
No,
Look at it. Look where
educate-
it's coming from that guy.
Educate for a living, I know.
Because he's a teacher.
I know.
Teaches people about range and merging, range merging.
Don't forget merge ranging.
Your
Seaver calls.
They're going to get the information. I'm kidding. I'm only joking about not saying anything.
Don't merge my polarization of your range, buddy.
Hey, don't talk dirty, Daniel.
Don't talk dirty. Is that sexy to you?
These boys spend a lot of time at their computers.
Daniel's in. 3 to the flop.
2.
Deuce, king, tray.
No, I knew, but check.
Daniel checks. A set for Doyle.
Doyle should get one bet at a Scott Seaver with top pair.
He bets 3,200.
Okay.
Seaver
Training set question. Would you call before the flop with my hand?
calls. Daniel
Raise
folds.
call.
To how much?
14,000 more.
Can I predict the hand after this?
Only if I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
If
feeling.
you're bored.
Doyle's acting bored.
10 of spades on the turn. Brunson has Seaver drawing dead and fires 9,200.
Doyle has just let out twice now. It would be very bizarre to see Scott Seaver fold top pair. I don't think he'd even consider it for any other player at the table.
Seaver seems befuddled. Shows Doyle the king.
King.
And folds.
Wow.
I'm going to go.
Got a wow out of Doyle.
Probably wrong.
I'm going to go queen 3, what, 9, 10 off?
Will you tell me what I did wrong after the game?
Doyle Brunson just asked Scott Seaver for some post-game analysis. What's going to happen next? Yeah. Phil calls.
10 deuce.
The 10 deuce, no way. He blows a kiss. Past the sugar every
I waited
time.
and waited and waited and finally got it, Doyle.
That's funny.
It's the hand we all wait for.
Some of us wait for aces.
Doyle, ace, ace.
Doyle will want to 4-bet this hand, but no one's really been giving him a lot of action today.
Doyle, it's your anniversary. It's your anniversary.
I know. Okay. In honor of the anniversary.
In honor of the anniversary.
Doyle 4-bets to 12-7.
You know, if he really wanted to do something in honor of the anniversary, he'd go broke and leave.
Seaver, king 4. Folds. Daniel's out. So's Jones.
I think I overbet the pot, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I was about to say something. If anyone took even a second to think, I would have said something, but when it's both instantaneous like that.